welcome to the Bender Bunker, your online resource for B-Bender country guitar since 2017, and a lesson we're calling Shuffle and Deal, which I probably should have called Shuffle and Bend, because that's what you just saw there in the intro. Some B-Bender parts put over a hardcore country shuffle, and it's always good to have an ace up your sleeve, or in this case, behind your hat when you need it. And that's kind of how I think about a B-Bender on a guitar once in a while, that ace up the sleeve for when you really need to bring something special to the music you're playing. And the premise of this kind of being maybe the steel player didn't make the gig, so the band leader turns to you, the guitar player, and says, okay, Bender boy, you got to fill in tonight. What you gonna do? And so I was trying to see what would be a nice balance of twangy country guitar with some nice slower B-Bender parts to mimic some faux steel, if you will, over a hardcore country shuffle. And that's what we just did in the intro. And if you like that kind of music and that kind of bending, well, this might be the lesson for you. So real quick before I go any further, you always are in control now of your Bender Bunker adventure. Just use your mouse and the chapter headings at the screen below, and you can jump ahead, skip all the talking. Look for part one. I'm going to break this intro into two parts. Part one will get you started. That's where I'll be showing you the first note and the first bend. So if you want to jump ahead, I'll be waiting for you there. For now, I just want to remind you of the three primary ways you can support the channel, the Bender Bunker. Like any up-and-coming YouTube channel, we could use the support. And there's three primary ways to do that. The first one being free. I always like that one, and fast. Just give us a quick thumbs up and just let the, well, what'll be our future AI overlords know that you're enjoying the B-Bender content and you'd like to see more B-Bender action in your YouTube feed moving forward. Appreciate that. Secondly, if you're new to the channel, this is what we've been doing for the last 6 years, hot B-Bender action and country guitar. And we've got over 75 Bender-related videos waiting for you on our channel page in one convenient playlist. We'd love to have you in the Bunker family. So utilize that subscription button waiting for you in the bottom corner of your screen. I'd say grab that mouse, click it quite aggressively, subscribe. And that way you won't miss out on anything moving forward. And then finally, I am shooting this one in, the month of July. Crazy hot here in Central Texas. And I'm shooting this in between 5-minute increments of turning my wall AC over here on the side on and off, on and off. So this is a long video to get through, and I could use a tasty cold beverage. And we've always called that, from the very beginning of this channel, a virtual beer donation, which you can send over the amount of your choice safely and securely through the Bender Bunker's PayPal account. And the link for that is in the details sections below there. So check that out. I appreciate everybody that's been sending over those virtual beer donations. You can definitely use it as we have another record-breaking heat summer here in Texas. And so that's about it. I would say go grab the Bender, grab a beverage. You got to stay hydrated here in these summer lessons. And let's get rolling now with Shuffle and Deal here at the Bender Bunker. All right, part one, let's get this party started. We are going to be starting with that opening section in G. We're in the dominant key of G. And then we're going to also be playing Bender parts in C and D. It's a 3-chord shuffle that we're playing over, and the Bender parts are going to correspond to the chord changes, but we are coming out of the gates in G with this bouncing Bender part that is corresponding with what the bass and drums are doing. Sounds like this. That's the G part. Let's knock that one out. No big deal. I will say that this G part is, I just realized, utilizing what I introduced earlier this year in another video called the 3-point system, tips and tricks for first-year benders. If you are a new Bender player and you're not familiar with that video, I'll put a link up here somewhere. Come circle back to it after this video. But what I am doing for this G section is indeed utilizing the 3 points I present in that video, which is we're starting in the 7th Bender shape for G, bouncing into the G Bender box, and doing a quick little bit of work up here in the what would be the high octave G bar chord. So 7th G Bender box and high octave bar chord, that is indeed the 3-point system I talk about in that video, and we're going to use it to our advantage right now with our Bender. So let's learn the finger positions before we learn the actual what the Bender's doing. Let's break it into 4 sections right here. 1, 2, 3, 4. That'd be high E 7th with your ring finger and one behind it on the B string 6 with your index. Top 2 strings of a G 7th shape there for your Bender. So there's 1. And then take your index finger, cover the top 2 on the 8th. 2. Move it up to 9th. Move it up to 10th. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. Now let's get the Bender involved and start that bouncing with the Bender to get that intro sound that you heard before, which is going to be... And we do that by taking our pick, and we are going to assume that position 1, the 7-6 stagger there on the frets. And we're going to down pick, starting with that 2nd string, down pick the top 2 strings and take the Bender up right away as you do so. Now, as we move our index finger up to position 2, the top 2 on the 8th, we're letting this down. We don't really need to hear it come down, just a little bit. And then we go to position 2, same thing, down pick it, 9th, 10th. When you get to the 10th and down pick it and take the bender up, hold the bender there fully engaged, okay? Because what we're gonna do now is take our little finger all the way up here to the top 2 on the 15th, do a quick blast on that, 1 down pick there. Come right back to where you were with your index finger, top 2 on the 10th. Double pick those on the 2nd pick on those 2 notes, let the bender down. And then that allows your ring finger to fall naturally on the 3rd string 12th for that G note. So we got, so those 3 are ringing together. And just hold that position right where it is. You still got your index finger, top 2, 10th. Let's go ahead and pick those and take the bender back up. And then once you have the bender engaged there, go ahead and hit the high E 10th. And then the B string 10th to let the bender back down. And then you never moved your ring finger from the 3rd string 12th, so in with that G note. And that's your G section, okay? Here we go again. Got your G bender box ringing nicely and your bender unengaged. Backing track's going to C now, so we're going to be doing this in the C section area. All right, let's learn that. We are down here in the C bender box area. And really it's going to be started by utilizing your 4 and your 2 strings together, your D and your B string together. So I'm starting with my ring finger and I'm sliding into the target of your 4th string 5th fret. I'm kind of just going like 1 fret below, picking it and sliding right into it. So there we go, 4th string 5th fret allows my index finger to fall naturally on the B string 3rd fret. I'm going to pick that as my 2nd note and take the bender right up. Bender down, back up. So it's 2 picks, your 4th string and your 2nd string. When you hit that B string 3rd, again, bender goes up, back down, and back up, all off that 1 pick. And the 4th and 2nd string are ringing together there, obviously. Bender's still engaged. So let's go ahead and hit the high E 3rd. It's already covered by our index there. Come back to the B string real quick to let the bender down. Bender's unengaged now. We're going to take our ring finger, which we left there on the 4th string 5th fret. We're just going to move it over 1 to the 3rd string 5th fret and hit that note once we bring the bender down. Ring finger going over to the 3rd string 5th. All right, so now what we're going to do, bender's unengaged, those are ringing together. And then I'm going to down pick just the 3rd and 2nd string together. Again, I've already got my 3rd string 5th fret and I'm still covering the B string and the high E with my index on the 3rd, but I'm going to pick the 3rd and 2nd string. Doesn't matter if you hit the top string, that'll sound nice as well. Just 1 quick down pick and take the bender up. That's your C section. And the bender's fully engaged right there, okay? So now we're going to bounce into the D section like this. Like that. So I'm going to let the bender down real quick. I never move my finger position, right? I've still got my ring finger on the 3rd string 5th, and I've got my index covering the top 2 on the 3rd. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to down pick that 3rd and 2nd string together with that position. Move it up just 1, right? Move that whole thing up just 1, and picking it and bouncing it with the bender. And then go ahead and take it up here to position. You're not getting into the D bender box because the D backing track is now behind us with the band. And then when I get there, I'm not really going to do the 3rd and 2nd string. I'm going to do... So we're bouncing into the D section with our 3rd and 2nd string. And then when I get here, I'm going to pre-engage the bender real quick before I do any picking. Let my index finger fall naturally where it wants to be, which is the top 2 on the 5th. Pick it twice, letting it down on the 2nd one. And then go ahead, you've already got your ring finger. You should probably have your ring finger already on the 3rd string 7th. then go ahead and hit the top 2 on the 5th again to take the bender back up. And then go ahead and hit the high E for 1 note on the 5th. So we got. Okay. Now I'm going to do a real quick note with my little finger, high E7. Bender's still engaged. That's important to note. That comes off. I still got my index covering the top 2 on the 5th. So let's do the B string for note. High E for note. Come back to the D string, let the bender down. And then let's go ahead and hit that 3rd string 7th again with our ring. So here we go, coming out of the C section. So it's bum, bum. And then a high E 5th, and then high E 7th, B on the 5th, high E 5th, back to the B, bender down, ending on that 3rd string 7th. That's your D section. So here we go. I'll do the C into the D again. Bender's unengaged. And then we're going to go back to that C section, the backing track's going back to C. So let's go back to the 4-2 string that we did the C section before with, same exact finger position. So again, that is going to be your ring finger on the 4 string 5th, letting your index finger fall on the B string 3rd. Going back to C like this. So very much like what we did before, I'm starting with that 4 string 5th, immediately going into the B string 3rd, taking it up, down, and up again, same as we did before. And then I'm going to do a quick high E on the 3rd, already covered by my index, and then the B string, let it down. That's all I'm doing there when I go back to it. Bender's unengaged. Now I'm going to take this exact 4 and 2 string position with my fingers, right? I'm going to go back to G because we need to get back to the dominant key to end this section. So it's going to sound like this. So what I did there is just what we just learned in that C section. And then what I'm doing here is taking that 4-2 position, 4-2 string position, where they're 2 frets apart, and I'm just moving it up to here, so now it's 4 string 12th and B string 10th. And as I did down here, I am picking the 4 string first and then going immediately over to the B string next. 1, 2. And then sliding. So you get a little bit of slide audio, ending on the 4 string 12th. I am switching my fingers a little bit though, because I was like this before, right? Ring finger index. When I go up here, I'm switching over to middle finger on the 4 string 12th, still using the index for the B string 10th. I am switching up that finger slightly. So really at the end there, you've got the 4th and on the 12th and the B string on the 10th ringing together as you take your bender up. All right, let's do it all together real quick, and this will be part 1. Vibrato there on it at the end there. Okay, perfect. That's part 1. Let's get on to part 2. Good news, it's very much what you just learned, but we're going to use the oldest trick in the book that we use many times here over the years at the bunker. We're going to be doing a lot of these parts an octave higher. All right, let's get going with part 2. All right, just turn the AC off. Again, we're filming this in 5-minute increments, and that's kind of what I jam on while I wait for the AC to cool us down. Let me get back to twang mode here. Just got to switch. We we are back. Let's go for part 2. Now, as I teased at the end of part 1, very similar to what we already learned, but we're just taking everything up to the higher octave territory to give us a little bit more of a pedal steel sound. So remember, we came out of part 1 in that G section. This is what part 2 is going to sound like. All right, you probably recognized a lot of those moves from part 1, so this should go a little bit faster for us. So here we go. We are already up here ending part 1 right there. So now we're just going to let our index finger go right there like we did before. Top 2 on the 10th, down pick it, take your bender up. Hop up like we did before with our little finger for the top 2 on the 15th with the bender engaged. Come right back to the 10th, double pick it, taking the bender down on the 2nd pick. And you guessed it, your ring finger's going over for a G note on the 3rd string, 12th. And then we're gonna go ahead and hit the top 2 again on the 10th, take the bender up. And then high E, B string, bender down. And end on that G note where you never moved your finger on the 3rd string, 12th. Now, C section comes up next. We went down here before, let's take it an octave up. So basically what we did down here, played around the C bender box. It's now the high octave C bender box. And that's gonna allow our index finger to jump up here from the top 2 on the 10th to the top 2 on the 15th. So let's hit those and take the top 2 on the 15th with our index finger, take the bender up. Hold the bender engaged for a second and alternate picking between your high E and your B string. And then let the bender down on that last B note. So it's starting on the high E. What is that, 5 notes? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is when the bender, and as the bender comes down, then that allows your middle finger to fall where it needs to for the C bender box, which is your 3rd string 17th for a note. And then that allows you then to go ahead and hit, I would hit all 3 at that point. So your 3rd string on the 17th and your index still covering the top 2 on the 15th for your C octave bender box, take it back up. So we jumped up here from the 10th to the 15th, hit it, did the 5 notes, 3rd string, 17th, and then all 3 bender back up. All right, so now we're gonna bounce. Remember we did this to get from C to D? We're going to do that an octave higher. So we just already assumed position for the high octave C bender box. So we've still got our ring finger on the 3rd string 17th and our index covering the B string 15th. Let's do the 3 2 strings and bounce those up like this. Down pick, taking the bender up with each pick. Again, that's up and down on the bender. And then we're going to get up here to the D bender box. So it's going to be your index finger on the top 2 on the 17th. We're going to pre-engage the bender this time though before we hit the notes. We're still going to double pick them, but we're pre-engaging the bender and then double pick, letting the bender down on the 2nd pick. Bender comes down, we immediately go with our middle finger to the 3rd string 19th. We're getting way up here now, aren't we? For a note, bender's unengaged. Let's pre-engage, take everything down 2. So let's go back to where we were. Index finger, top 2, 15th, same thing. Pre-engage, 2 hits on the top 2, letting it down on the 2nd one. Middle finger, 3rd string, 17th. So we went. Just a repeat, just 2 frets down. Now, the next thing we do is, think of a D7th chord, right? Just your D7th cowboy chord. Let's move that up a full octave. All right, so think of a D7th chord up here. But again, like we just did, we're pre-engaging the bender before we do anything for this position. So let's start and just walk it down. High E, B string, and then 3rd string on that high D7th chord. But when we get to the B string, let's let the bender down because we pre-engage it. So it's just, it's all together. Bender's unengaged. Pre-engage again. Index finger goes to where it's been hanging out for part 2, which is the top 2 on the 10th. And let's just go high E, B string, bender down. So that whole sequence. Bender's unengaged. Now we got to do a quick little lick in C, so I'm going to go back down to the C lower octave, Bender box do. That's all I'm doing there. So index finger drops from the top 2 on the 10th to the top 2 on the 3rd, because we're doing the C bender box. And we're going to hit the B string, take the bender up on the 3rd. And we're going to alternate real quick. So we're doing the high E with our little finger for a note on the 5th. Right back to the still bent B on the 3rd. And then little finger comes off, high E, 3rd, already covered. And that note's your high E 3rd. Bender's unengaged. And then let's go back and do the exact same way we ended part 1, which is your 4 and 2 string on the 12th and 10th fret up here. So you already learned that for part 1. I'm doing the exact same thing with the exact same fingers. All right, so here's part 2. And as I do that very last ending here in G, the same way we ended part 1, right? I think I also did this lick at the end on that intro. So you want, and that is a quick note on high E 12th with your little finger. And as that comes off, you're gonna let your index finger cover the top 2 on the 10th where it already is. Start on your high E, B string, letting the bender down. And then I'm using probably my ring finger there for the 3rd string 12th. So coming at it, doing that little lick again. All right, part 2, here we go. That's it. You've got both parts. Put them together, have fun. And as always with these lessons, I can never stress this enough, and I've said it so many times over the years, there is a certain part of part 1 or part 2. There's something in this whole sequence that caught your ear that made you go this far to begin with. Concentrate on that. Just learn that. If, take little pieces of this, make them your own, incorporate them in your playing, and that's really the point of these lessons. I just try and throw a bunch of stuff out there. You take the small pieces you like, make them your own, and then bastardize them out into whatever works for your bender playing. That's how it's supposed to work. That's how I'm hoping it works for you. All right, I'm going to get on out of here, turn the AC back on, because good Lord, it is hot. And I'll see you again real soon. Might not be till fall, though. We'll see how this works out. I can't go without the AC for too long. Until then, you keep playing the bender, having a good time this summer. I'll see you again in the weeks ahead. And as always, it's never too late to go on the bender, even if it's 1,000 degrees. And I'll see you again real soon. Until then, keep it bent.